Hello, I'm Steve. Welcome to the Patio Heat channel, where we create visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for outdoor comfort. Our one-on-one customer support helps you make the best decision for your application. We strive to earn your business. Visit our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Now let's get heating. All right, so we have this residential application. It's a covered patio deck, and we have basically a wall here, a wall here. We have a fireplace here. There is a fixed or a solid, I'll call it a wall here. So we're not going to be talking about gas heaters, because if the gas heater is in here, then you have to allow the ventilation of the exhaust to flow out of here. So, but just to note, that's why we're not going to be talking about that. And we do have a fan here in the center. There are some light fixtures recessed into the ceiling, as well as some speakers. There is a TV set here, fireplace. There's some lighting over here that might come into contact with some of the clearance issues. This sliding door, and the door slides left to right, and as well as a window over here. We can see we have the seating arrangement here. So primarily, I believe their seating is just going to be around here in the middle, but they're also thinking about having some extended seating here, and there might even be some more seating over here, as well as you might be, pushing the seating, in or out or something of that nature as well during the different times of the season. So just bear that in mind. But I just have it placed like this, and access points there, I believe. So I think that is about it. Now, I don't know the exact placement of the light fixtures here, but if I was to, just measure off from, let's see here if I can do this, measure off from, let's just say this point here to approximate center here. You can see I have it at about 2 feet, 6 inches roughly to the center of the lighting. So this is called 2.5 feet. And that's true on all the light fixtures as well as the center of the speakers. And then the same thing over here, 2.5 feet from the center to this edge over here. So I think that's about it. Not sure if I talked about the fan, but there is a fan in the center position of the location here. So all right, so let's go ahead and look at different options. They wanted to know about placing heaters on this beam, placing heaters on the ceiling, placing heaters over here on the wall and on the external, or the opposite side of this external edge over here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we can do. So let's first go with the ceiling mount units. And so if I place two 6,000 watt units, here you can see that the main issues that we want to make sure is that we are meeting the clearances of combustion below the heater. So this light fixture, you can see I don't have it in there, but I believe the heaters are at, I think it's 8 feet apart from each other. So let's go ahead and see that real quick here and go over here. And there we go. So yeah, 8 feet apart, and so we're not having an issue with the regards to the combustibles over here or over here. And we also want to make sure that we are meeting the 18 inches of clearance here to this beam. This is a combustible surface. You can see that we have maybe an inch or so that we can slide it back downhill a little bit. I did place it at the same distance of the slope itself. So the slope itself, and I'm not quite sure if we talked about this yet, so let's just go on the dimensions here. Sometimes I do retakes on these videos, and I have to go ahead and make sure I got all the dimensions and stuff and all the information. And anyway, so here we got 17, 18, and 8 foot height here, and an additional 1 foot on this beam here, a total of 11.6 to the top edge here. And I think that's about it, except for the slope here. So I have it at 3 3/4 to 1 foot. So something to bear in mind. And let's go ahead and go back to this here. So what I've done here is I just matched the slope with the heater, and it's the face of the heater is matching the slope here itself, and meeting that 18 inches on the back side here. With the lights over here, I don't think that's going to be an issue, but you can see that we're awfully close to the actual speakers here, so that might become an issue. You might have to move it down a little bit. But in any case, this is just something to look at to see if this is more of what would work for you. And let's go ahead and put the ray down so you can see with the ray. This is infrared light wave. You want to be inside of the perceived ray itself, or the ideal portion of the ray. So this ray is light wave. It does bend and stretch and goes further out than I'm showing here, but this is the best footprint of heat that you're going to receive, and so you want to make sure you're within that space to feel warm. And here you can see that we got pretty much the whole place covered fine, and there's no issues with regards to the front or back here, but you can see we're missing a good portion here from this edge here all the way over. If you were standing right here, you're not going to be physically in the ray in your upper body, so this isn't where you got to keep that in mind, I should say. And if you're sitting right here, then your upper torso probably be out of the ray as well. So this is the ideal portion of the ray. You want to be in that ideal portion. Let's go ahead and see what it would look like if we place two more on the other side. Well, here we go. We got a problem. We got the fireplace here, so we can't really do that. That's obvious. And I'm gonna go ahead and take off these clearances here for a second. Take this off here, and let's see what if we can put in some shorter units. That's not the one I wanted to choose. Let's see here. Here we go. So these are 5,000 watt units, and I think they're 39 inches long. Now, one problem I did see here is that we are not meeting the clearances below the heater. I got 18 inches from this edge here, but again, if this was a combustible surface, then that might become an issue with regards to not meeting that 18 inches of clearance. I'm probably in there, probably about 2 inches of space. Let's see if I can see that. Yeah, that's probably about 2 inches here, but in any case, you need the 39 inches, 18 over here, 18 over here, and that would be your total depth here. Now you can see I don't have this fireplace perfectly in the center, but I do meet this 18 inches here to here, and I'm meeting the 18 inches over here. So maybe my drawing's a little bit off here, and maybe this one over here would work fine. But here we go. We can find the footprint of heat now. We are covering the entire space. Now the TV set here is on this wall, I'll call it here, and or hearth, and the ray will actually penetrate into that. That's why you want to make sure you got that 18 inches if this is a combustible surface, but it will not penetrate the TV set. It's actually going to be absorbed into the wall itself. You can see this line right here is where that absorption starts. It's really on here, only on the left side. This is all going to be shadow of the ray itself. So the coverage 2 will have that shadow here. This portion of that coverage is going to be a little bit basically a shadow here, so you're not going to get receive any heat from in this particular area right here. All right, so that is placing them on the ceiling, and I also wanted to go back here. I know I have this on the edge wall here, but we couldn't place them over here, so let's go ahead and turn that off here for a second. And I think I have this one other vertical mount. Nope. Let's see here if I can find that. Sorry about the delay. So here's another option, placing it over here. If you wanted to have it on the ceiling still, 5,000 watt unit would be a little bit shorter, but you'd get a good footprint down here, and that would give you a good coverage for this space right here and here. Now, obviously, there is a light here, a light fixture, so that would block all the light. I would not recommend this. And also, you can see that even though we're meeting the clearances, actually, we're not meeting the clearances. We need to make sure that we're meeting the clearances, which would be an additional, I think that'll be additional 11, 12 inches here. So that would give us the 18 that we're looking for. So yeah, that would, you can see we're not hitting the TV set, but I still would be a little bit concerned about that. You might want to change this angle, but now we got a problem with the fan. So you can see how sometimes these things just do not work. So I wouldn't recommend this particular heater here. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that off and look at what a vertical surface mount on would look like here. So this, turn off the ceiling mount and turn on the vertical mount, which would be placing 2 units on this edge here. Now with the C series, you need to make sure that you're maintaining a clearance of 12 inches above the heater when it's mounted on a vertical surface like that with the ceiling above. This is your 6 inches here, so I do have a total of 12 inches from the top edge of the heater all the way to the ceiling surface here. Now there is a little gap in here that I placed. I think there's some lighting fixture up here, so something just to think about as far as the placement of this is concerned. It might have to come down a little bit, but you do need to make sure you maintain that 12 inches of clearance above when mounted on a vertical surface. All right, and let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat here. And again, the footprint of heat is fairly decent, and I have these at 30-degree tilts, so you can see this it actually comes out a little bit further here than I had on the last one, matching the slope of the ceiling. But this would be the hottest spot here, and this would be a cooler spot. Some people would appreciate having that difference, but you can also put a controller on here or a duplex switch on these 2 heaters individually. The controller would give you 1% on, 100% on. The duplex switch would give you 50% on, 100% on. So something to think about on that. And I think this would be a good application as well. And again, the vertical mounts up here just do not work. And you could go to the other vertical mount is here, I think. Here we go. You could do this and you come up with a better footprint of heat. Also, just a note, you could probably put 4 5,000 watt units instead of going 6,000 here and 5,000 over here. But I would like to have a little bit better coverage here in the center. That's why I like the 6,000s a little bit better on the opposite side. With the reduction of space between here and the fireplace, that's why I'm going with the 5,000 watt again. So, all right, so that is that. And let's go ahead and look at the last option. And the last option would be to place heaters on the 2 opposite, the house side wall here and the opposite edge over here. These are basically 6,000 watts again, centered within the patio. We need to maintain that 12 inches of clearance above, and then I have them at 30-degree tilt on the vertical surface. And the same thing is true over here. We need to maintain that clearance above, and even though that you can see that the clearances here are into the wall itself, when you place it on a vertical surface mounted at 30 degrees, the penetration of the light wave will not penetrate the house or the window here, so that will not be an issue, and that's a legal application. So you can see here that we are getting a good coverage this direction as well as this direction. This is actually a very good application. We are missing a little bit of this edge here, so we'd have to move, in order to feel more comfortable at different times of the year, we would have to, move in. Probably I got 12 inches there, so that would be a little bit nicer. Here's about a 3-4 inch gap or 4 foot gap here. But the coverage would be a really good coverage overall with just 2 units like this. So something to think about, and all the clearances are easily met. And I like this application just as much as any of the others. So, all right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you'd like us to review your plans, please send your information into designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve, and please tap that like button. We don't advertise, we're not monetized. YouTube does not promote us anyway unless we receive your thumbs up, and we greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Have an excellent day.